Hey, what's up guys, welcome back again. A woman who can break more than 200 bones while giving birth to a man can also give those same men such a painful death that no one could have ever imagined. Today's story from Indonesia may look simple on the surface, but the scenes shown in it are enough to shake a living human to the core. This is the story of a 34-year-old beautiful woman whose husband has passed away, leaving her completely alone. Her name is Marlina. She lives on top of a hill where there is no one around for miles. Even if someone lives nearby, people rarely visit each other because the distance between houses is extremely large. One day, outside her house, we see a motorcycle arriving. The man riding it had a musical instrument hanging by his side, something quite popular in many Indonesian villages. But that wasn't the only thing he had. Behind his back was a sharp knife. Suddenly, his eyes fell on a grave buried outside the house. He didn't know whose grave it was, but a name was clearly written on it. After reading it, he walked straight inside and found a lonely woman standing there. This woman is the main character of our story. Marlina, in a frightened voice, asked him who he was. He replied, "My name is Marcus. Is your husband at home?" She answered that her husband had gone downhill to get some supplies and would return by evening. Marcus immediately replied, "If he went downhill, then whose dead body is lying behind the house?" Marlina had no answer. In reality, that body belonged to her husband. In some parts of Indonesia, there is a tradition where after a person dies, they are not buried or cremated immediately. Instead, their loved ones keep them at home for some time. They feed them, dress them in good clothes, and even bathe them. They believe that the time of death was not right, and when the right time comes, only then will they bury them. That is why Marlina had kept her husband's body sitting in a corner. Because of this, her lie was exposed instantly. Something strange awakened inside Marcus, and Marlina could already sense it. For Marcus, this was a golden opportunity. Spending time with a beautiful woman in such a deserted area felt like pure luck to him. However, for now, he didn't take any action. Instead, he asked her to make tea. Marlina had already noticed the sharp weapon in his hand. Without arguing, she silently did whatever he asked. After bringing the tea, Marcus told her to sit beside him. That's when the questioning began. His first question was about the grave outside. Was it her in-law's grave? She bluntly replied that it was none of his business. Marcus was shocked. How could she answer so boldly? Still, he stayed quiet. He knew that fear was the strongest weapon to control a person, especially in such a situation. Then came the second question. How did her husband die? Did she have children? Marlina replied that her husband had died of cholera and that she had no children. Hearing this, Marcus felt happy inside. Living with such a beautiful woman in a deserted place felt like a dream come true for him. Marlina, however, hadn't thought that far yet. She assumed he had come to steal supplies, but his intentions were far darker. Slowly, Marcus revealed his true plan. He said he wouldn't hurt her. He would just take all her goats. But after sunset, a few of his friends would arrive, and she would have to sleep with them. In return, they would have a nice dinner together. She had only 1 hour to prepare everything. As soon as Marlina went inside, her heart shattered. Her expressions went lifeless. Her husband had died only a few days ago, and his body wasn't even buried yet. And now, such disgusting acts were about to happen in front of him. For a moment, She thought of running away. But where would she go? How far could she run? Sooner or later they would catch her. And this was her home. She had no choice but to stay. An hour passed quickly. All the men arrived. There were around 6 of them. As soon as they came, they started loading her goats into a truck. Marlina stood at a distance, watching everything. Her heart wanted to stop them, but that would be foolish. 6 men versus 1 woman, silence was her only option. And this silence was about to become her biggest weapon. She started preparing dinner while outside the men laughed loudly, discussing who would sleep with Marlina first. Every word pierced her ears like arrows. Who would want to hear stories of their own humiliation? When she went outside, one man approached her, completely mesmerized by her beauty, as if he had never seen a woman this beautiful before. Later, Marlina went back inside where Marcus lay drunk. She fixed her appearance, and by the time she returned outside, all the men were dead. Yes, friends, because she had mixed a special poisonous plant into the soup. That's why I said her silence was her greatest weapon. But one demon was still left, Marcus. He couldn't be killed so easily. She presented herself before him, trapping him in her web. Taking advantage of the moment, Marlina used his own weapon to separate his head from his body. Silently, cleverly, and wisely saving herself from being looted. But this is only the beginning of the story, the very first chapter. After everything, Marlina quietly sat beside her husband's body. She shared everything with him, thanking him, saying that without him, she would never have found the strength to do all this. Among those 6 men, there was also a young man from France. He had tried to force himself on Marlina while she was cooking dinner, but another man came and told him to get into the truck. This clearly means, later in the story, this Frenchman will become a major obstacle in Marlina's path. The morning sun rose. Marlina stepped out of her house and walked straight to the village road. The road where vehicles pass to take people to markets, hospitals, or the police station. Today, Marlina was going to the police station. She had decided to surrender. And if anyone asked for proof of her crime, she had brought it with her. Marcus's severed head. Yes, she was carrying his head in her hands. A sight terrifying enough to shake anyone's soul. Just then, a woman from the same village approached her, searching for her missing husband. When she saw the head in Marlina's hands, she was horrified. She tells her that she is going to the police to surrender herself. During this journey, Novi shares a few things about her own life. Novi reveals that she is pregnant, but her husband hasn't returned home for the last 2 days. That's why she's going to the city to look for him, because she wants her husband to be beside her when she gives birth to their child. She admits that he beats her badly, but at the same time he loves her deeply. That's why, even in such a condition, she is still searching for him. Hearing this, Marlina tells Novi about her own first child, how the baby died immediately after birth. Yet she didn't separate herself from the child. Instead, she buried the newborn right outside her house. That means the grave outside Marlina's home belongs to that newborn baby. Now both were women, and their situations were strangely similar. The only difference was this: one woman was fighting her circumstances to make her life better, while the other had accepted her fate, believing that this suffering was her destiny. Who do you think is right? Just then, a bus arrives. It looks more like a garbage truck, but this is the only means of transport here. Some passengers are already inside, and now both women board the bus. But as soon as the passengers notice the severed head in Marlina's hands, their souls tremble. Everyone gets off the bus, fearing that Marlina might do the same thing to them. The driver doesn't like this at all. It means a loss for him. So he asks Marlina to get down. But Marlina refuses. She places a sharp weapon on his neck and growls, "Take me to the police station, or I'll take you with me to death." The driver is terrified. Even after everyone gets off, he lets her stay. Novi stays with her too because she knows Marlina and isn't afraid of her. On the way, Novi asks why she did all this and who that man is. Marlina stays silent. Soon, another woman stops the bus along the way. She's traveling with her nephew and 2 horses, horses she received as dowry. Her marriage was just fixed moments ago in a nearby house. How strange. In a 4-wheeled bus, there are 3 passengers, and each of them sees love and marriage very differently. One has lost someone, one is searching for someone, and one is just beginning a new life. The bus starts moving again when Marlina suddenly sees France and his companion walking toward her house. She immediately hides. If they saw her, disaster would follow. They don't see her, but Novi senses that something is wrong. When the bus later stops for a break, Novi again asks Marlina about her crime. This time, Marlina finally tells her everything. How a group of monsters tried to violate her dignity, how she ended all of them, and how the severed head belongs to their leader. After hearing this, Novi advises her not to go to the police. She warns that the police might do the same thing those men tried to do. The world exploits weak women. They won't understand that Marlina killed those men to protect herself. Novi suggests going to the church instead and confessing there. But Marlina refuses. She says she hasn't committed any sin. Meanwhile, France and his men reach Marlina's house. As warned earlier, France becomes the thorn in her path. Seeing his men's dead bodies and his leader's corpse, his blood boils. He knows exactly who the killer is. At the same time, France reaches the bus and asks everyone if they know that woman. Everyone denies it. Only Novi knows Marlina's real name, but she lies to protect her and misleads France, saying the woman went to the city inn. The morning bus. France believes her and leaves in that bus. The woman with the horses accidentally leaves 1 horse behind, a horse that later becomes Marlina's companion. From here, the story takes a turn where every moment teaches something new. Riding that horse, Marlina finally reaches the place she left home for, the police station. But instead of entering directly, she stops at a small roadside shop. Sitting there, she notices a young girl and feels happy seeing her innocence. She sees her own reflection in that child and silently prays that the girl never experiences what she did. Marlina places Marcus's head inside a wooden box and leaves it at the shop. Carrying a severed head openly only invites fear, and rightly so. She files her report at the police station. However, the police have no vehicle available to investigate. They say it will take at least 1 month to begin the case. Hearing this, Marlina completely breaks down. Waiting a month for justice means certain death. France will find her long before that. Heartbroken, she returns to the shop and starts crying. The little girl comes and hugs her. Someone once said, "Only a woman can truly understand another woman's pain, no matter her age." That moment gives Marlina strength. She decides there's no point staying here. Taking Marcus's head with her, she walks ahead, without knowing her next destination. Meanwhile, France kills the bus driver, suspecting he was hiding something. He captures the passengers, including Novi. Novi receives a call from her husband Jones, but she's too scared to answer. France snatches the phone and talks to Jones himself. Jones already suspects Novi of having an affair. Hearing another man's voice confirms his doubts. France even claims that the child in Novi's womb is his. Novi's life is completely destroyed. Suddenly, the nephew attacks France from behind. The three of them escape in the bus. Novi later calls Jones and explains everything, but he refuses to listen. When she meets him in person, he insults her, kicks her, and calls her a prostitute, then rides away, leaving her crying helplessly on the ground. Things get worse when France arrives again. At that exact moment, Marlina calls Novi. France forces Novi to answer and tell Marlina that she's at her house. France takes Novi to Marlina's home, brings Marcus's body outside, and waits. When Marlina arrives and sees France inside, she understands it was all a trap. France places Marcus's head back on his body, as if trying to bring his leader back to life. Both women now realize that their fate seems written only with humiliation. France orders Novi to cook dinner and drags Marlina inside. Soon, Marlina's screams echo through the house. At first, Novi ignores them, but suddenly something awakens inside her. She grabs a weapon and stabs France straight in the chest. As life fades from him, France stares in shock at this version of Novi. Marlina knew Novi would come, because when a victim has nothing left to lose, she becomes capable of anything to protect her dignity. Suddenly, Novi goes into labor. Marlina helps her, and Novi gives birth to a baby boy. Both women smile. Perhaps this child will bring light to Novi's dark life. But what about Marlina? Will she ever be held accountable for her killings? Will she keep running forever? And even if she runs, where will she go? This wilderness is vast. Crossing it on foot is like searching for a needle in the desert. What do you think? Will Marlina survive this wilderness? The story ends with this question. How did you like this story? Tell us in the comments. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.